make capital punishment great again.
Welcome to the Rendezvous podcast. You're joined by Davis Alden, Carter Mangus, and Zach Gale. J6 out antelope hunting today, and
shocker, we're missing him again.
Yeah, he didn't last long.
Hopefully he'll come back and give us his very detailed antelope hunt story. Detailed.
The redacted version.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we got a lot of stuff to talk to you guys about today. Capital punishment, stupid people, and Halloween monsters stuff. So
Halloween monster stuff.
Yep. So
All right.
Let's get into it.
Yep.
First up on the to-do list.
Zach, you want to tell us about what's going on with that 7-year-old in Texas?
Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. Just 1 second here. Okay, yeah. So for those of you out there who don't know, there's a recent court case in Texas. This father and mother went to court over whether or not the father could prevent his ex-wife from transitioning his 7-year-old son to a female. It's pretty disturbing, considering that the court ruled that he had no say over it, over this like life-altering decision.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, does this come down to who has custody of the child too? Like, did he not have custody of his son?
That I'm not sure about, but probably he probably had like weekends or something.
I would assume they shared custody, right?
Yeah, so they definitely shared custody.
What the fuck
because
was the court doing when they ruled against him?
Yeah, I don't know, and it's weird too because there's video evidence. If you go on YouTube and search, the little boy's name is James, and if you search Save James, there's a YouTube channel where basically he put up evidence like this isn't his kid's choice. His mother is basically forcing this on him. So there's this video where this poor kid is wearing, it looks like a towel kind of over his head to make it look like he has long hair. And his dad asks him, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And the kid says, "I'm a girl." And he goes, "Who told you you're a girl?" And he goes, "Mommy." And so for the next couple of minutes, the dad keeps asking him these questions, like, "What else does mommy do to you?" And his mom would like paint his fingernails and stuff like that. It's just sickening. This mom is forcing this on her kid. This kid has no idea. And the mom's reasoning behind this is because there's some TV show, some cartoon this kid watched, and one of his favorite characters was a female. So therefore, he's definitely a girl. He's not a boy. It's like, that's just the dumbest logic.
I saw this thing on the internet the other day that said, like, I think it was part of that Save James YouTube channel, and it was something about how if the son didn't come out like of his bedroom in the morning to get up for school or whatever, if he didn't come out dressed as a girl or something, his mom would like shame him and withhold affection from her son because she wasn't conforming to what she wants.
Yeah, so
that's just bad parenting.
Oh, it goes deeper than that.
That's not just bad parenting. It's sexual abuse, mental abuse, and psychological
abuse.
Yeah, definitely. It goes even deeper than just withholding affection. She would lock her son in his room and tell him that there's a monster out there that eats specifically little boys. So from this young age, this kid's afraid to be a boy because he thinks if he goes outside his room, he's going to get eaten by a monster. There was something else. But yeah, the withholding affection if he didn't come out dressed as a girl. There's an interview where his father, his name is Jeff, basically talks about just some of this disturbing things. It's disgusting. It's child abuse. It's sex abuse. It's psychological and emotional trauma to this kid. So the other thing we should talk about is what this mom wants to subject her kid to, because it's disgusting. So he's 7 years old, right? from the time he was 3, his mom was doing this to him. So since this has like gone to trial and stuff, it's been 3 years. In the next 2 years, he's going to be fed puberty blockers and hormone blockers, which they're not specifically designed to be used as puberty and hormone blockers. These are drugs that are used to prevent, like, a couple of them are a specific type of cancer, stuff like that. And there's some pretty shocking statistics out there in the last couple of years that have come out of people who have died because they're being fed these just unnatural chemicals into their body. I think.
Well, especially when you're talking about feeding these unnatural chemicals to a goddamn 7-year-old, or like in the next couple of years when he's starting to go into puberty, when he's like 9 or 10, that can't be good for his body.
Well,
definitely. And because, hey, just one sec, after he's fed these puberty blockers, you know what happens next? They cut his balls off. They castrate him, and they begin the surgery to transition him.
Well, didn't the court also basically rule that it's because he's old enough to choose what he wants to be?
Yeah, if they did, that's totally wrong,
That's
right?
not old enough. He's not. I mean,
if you're not old enough to vote, buy tobacco, buy alcohol, and stuff like that, you probably aren't old enough and mature enough to choose what gender you
I mean,
want to be.
yes, like at 7 years old, he probably has the mental capacity to say, yes, I want to be a girl. Yes, I want to be a boy. But his mom's been feeding it to him since he was like 3. You can't.
I would argue that he doesn't. I mean, what's the age of consent? Federally, I think it's like 18, but it depends on states, right? That's the age that we've determined that you can like fully understand what it means to be sexually active and make these decisions. So why are you saying that he has this ability to decide at 7 years old? You know, it goes into this other thing too. If you look at brain development, the frontal part of our brain, the frontal cortex, doesn't develop until mid to late 20s. That's like the decision-making part of your brain. And
yeah, that's why the drinking age is 21.
Partially,
well, and you know, if a 7-year-old commits a crime, you aren't going to charge them as an adult because they don't know what they're doing. They don't have that decision-making process that adults do. So why should they be allowed to decide what gender they are?
Well, like, and since his mother's been feeding it to him since he was even younger than 7, like, you're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl, abusing him mentally, physically, psychologically, whatever, you know. You can't say that at 7 years old he has the choice because he's been told his whole life basically that he's a girl. And the court in Texas is fucking stupid for even agreeing with this lady.
Yeah, that brings me to my next point. You know, we talked about like what they're putting into his body, but also the psychological part of this thing. Transgenders are the highest attempted or committed suicide like demographic. I think some 40%, it's somewhere in the 40s, have either attempted suicide or gone through with it and actually killed themselves. These people are not happy people. And some part of this for these people who decide, more people that are a little bit older, go through this because they think, you know, that's going to make them happy. They just felt like that, you know, they don't belong in their original body and that transitioning will make them happy. But you find out later on, a huge number of them aren't happy afterwards. They're incredibly depressed. They're trying to kill themselves. There's even a lot of people that even try to transition back to what they originally were. This mother is subjecting to her son to, you know,
what
death,
she wants.
really. Yeah, death,
That's
and
what
just
she
a
wants.
very sad life. And it's disgusting that a court would rule in favor of this.
I mean, he's 7 years old, though. He doesn't know whether his life is going to be, like, legitimately sad or not at this time being. But if this actually goes through, come 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, or even when he gets into middle school and high school, he's not going to be happy that his mom forced him to get this surgery to cut his balls off.
Well, and if the mom wants a girl so bad, why not just go adopt a little girl? There's plenty of orphans out there that need good parents. Not saying she's going to be a good parent, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know?
I agree.
Or
Yeah, if you want a girl, adopt a girl.
If she feels the need to physically, like, nurture her own child, hell, go get knocked up again and try for a girl. Like, why the fuck are you turning your only son, who is 7, into a girl just because that's what you want? That is selfish. It's wrong. The ethics there are just fucked. Like,
There's, so kind of going back to what you said, I mean, you know, when we've all gone through puberty, like, that's a weird and awkward time for everybody. And a lot of people, they'll end up growing into their bodies, you know. If you're taking that whole thing away from them, or robbing them of that experience to find out who they really are, is just another despicable thing to do to a person. And I don't know when this decision, I think it was over the weekend maybe, but so these last couple days we've all three of us have been talking about it, but this has got me really heated. Because, you know, there's just this whole thing. It's like, that's just dumb. Like, why would you want to do that to yourself? But when you're subjecting a kid to it, it becomes something different. And I think it's just a real blemish on our society and what this says about us as Americans and what we hold as important. I told you guys that I've been like, you know, I'm not afraid to express my opinion, but this was something I kind of like reserved or like held back on because I didn't want whoever, potential employers or whatever, to like find these tweets and be like, oh, he doesn't conform with our agenda. But I don't care anymore. I'll tweet about this. This is not okay, and something's got to be done about this.
I mean, like, people obviously have the right to go through this gender transformation, or like people come out and say they're gay or lesbian, bisexual, whatever, you know. And like, although us three might not agree with those kinds of things, like, obviously we live in America. It's a free country. You can do whatever the hell you want. I'm not gonna like go bash every person that I see because I don't agree with what they're doing. But when you're talking about a mother forcefully putting a woman's identity on her 7-year-old son and trying to say, oh, we're gonna get you surgery so you're actually a girl, it's just fucked. It's just fucked.
Yeah.
Period.
God. So I don't know what religion you subscribe to or whoever our listeners are, but that kid needs to be prayed for because that is not a good situation for him. But there is some good news. The governor of Texas is looking into this. The legislature is looking into this in Texas. So there's some chance for some sort of reversal or to prevent this in the future. So that is good.
Yeah, I mean, that is one positive outcome, I guess. I just hope the mother and the father listen to this. We should make this really big. Because this is fucking stupid. Like...
Yeah, so here's the other thing. His mom isn't just like a nobody. She's a doctor. And I think she's a children's doctor too. So I found somebody tweeted out, they were looking at like reviews of her office. Somebody tweeted, or somebody like commented, left a Google review of her doctor's office saying like the doctor was like trying to convince her own son, her patient's son, that he was a girl. So it's not just like she's doing this to her own kid. She's trying to force this on other people who come into her office looking for medical help. It's
that's real good for business, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Fuck. So, should we move on?
Yeah.
Or do you want to rant some more?
Well, before we move on, whoever listens to this episode, you guys get on board, comment at us, you know, like, tell us what you think about the situation.
Tell Zach he's a bigot. he's not woke, and it's 2019.
God damn it, Zach.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, get on the Save James train.
Yeah.
We're all there.
I mean, we know we're an outdoor podcast and typically only talk about outdoor stuff, but we just all three of us felt, and Jacek a little bit. He's not on, but he felt this way a little bit too. We just felt this needed to be addressed, and we wanted to rant about it. So
Yeah, I don't miss a good opportunity to rant.
No, you really don't, Zach. You really don't. Anyways, onward.
Yeah.
do you want to tell us about I don't know, was it a substitute teacher you had this week or whatever?
Yeah, are we jumping into the scary stories now?
No, let's go through the deer and the pumpkin boat. And
Let's talk about bringing capital punishment back. And this is my personal belief. I don't know if it's your guys's, but I think there'd be a lot less crime and a lot less shitty people in the world if once a week you just packed your picnic box up, went down to the
town park.
The town park or town square and watched a public hanging once a week. You might think twice about your bad decisions. And so there's this guy in our hometown, Sheridan, Wyoming, and he killed 113 deer without a tag. Didn't use any of the meat.
Yeah, he was just killing deer.
He's just killing deer to kill deer.
And then leaving them in his fucking pasture or whatever. And so the city went into an investigation. I guess the Game and Fish did an investigation about a year ago. And they found 113 unused deer carcasses on this guy's property. And obviously at that point you think, okay, this guy's just shooting deer, because there's not just 113 dead deer that they don't just die. And so he just got sentenced. What was it, like this week? He got sentenced to 9 months in prison or jail.
And a $254,000 fine and restitutions.
He was found guilty.
He's gonna be on probation.
Oh yeah, and then he's got a year of probation afterwards. And what was it? Guilty on 11 counts of poaching or something. Whoa! 11 counts of wanton destruction of. Oh, you just took. Wanton destruction of big game animal in 4th judicial. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't understand how he's only charged with 11
counts.
I don't know how he only has 11 charges against him when they found 113 deer on his property.
That is a good question,
especially when you are using meat.
Yeah. And so I think what he said he did, or what they found, was like these deer would come in and he had like a garden or something, then he just kill them to keep them from eating his food. It's like you can't do
build
that,
a
dude.
fucking fence around it. Jesus Christ. You can't just kill deer.
Well, and like he was doing this over a long time span, right? This wasn't just like over a couple months. Like this happened over years. He was doing this, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. I bet there's way more than 113 deer carcasses in this guy's yard.
Yeah.
I bet there's shit all over the place.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So therefore, for this guy, capital punishment. Public hanging.
Bring it back.
I mean, you don't have to, I guess you don't really have to kill the guy because whatever, but I mean, there should be something set in law like there was in the 1800s, early 1900s that says we need to set an example for everybody else not to be fucking idiots.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch a public hanging, you might think twice about, shooting up the school next week, it might not have any impact on you because you're a psychopath, but the people that do bad stuff that aren't psychopaths might have a fucking impact. You never know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if I'm for or against. I think it would depend on the situation.
I mean, it is a hot take.
It always depends on the situation.
Well, I mean, think about like
ultimately,
murder.
that's why you have a jury. the jury pretty much decides, does he get life or does he get the lethal injection or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about murderers though, and serial killers and rapists. Like, why do they just get to go rot in a jail cell for the rest of their lives when you could be using them to make an example to everybody else that's thinking about doing these things or currently doing these things? And maybe you would just, I mean, you're not gonna like solve world peace by any means, but fuck.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say, like, right now in this situation, but I know personally, if I was on a jury, I would probably have a hard time deciding, like, does he really deserve to die, or not, like, go free. Like, obviously, this person would, deserve some form of punishment, but personally, and just with my own faith, I would have a hard time deciding if that was the right choice.
I'd only have a hard time deciding that if the person wasn't on trial for murder, because if the person's on trial for murder and if they did it, life for life.
Yeah.
Eye for an eye, dude. Eye for an eye.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm also not the one writing laws, so probably good for it.
Yeah.
Probably.
So that's a nice segue into our other story about deer, right?
Yeah, so
deer.
And this Arkansas man was hunting deer.
When was this?
This was
it just yesterday?
Well,
or
this
like
was
this
on
week?
Well, could you let me get there?
It says Tuesday.
Yeah, so this Arkansas man was hunting deer this last week and shot a deer, got it down. His name was Thomas Alexander. He was 66. He goes up to the deer,
Plot
and he
twist.
went over to the buck, and it got up and attacked him, and it ended up killing him. And so, I mean, this is really sad. Nobody wants to die hunting, doing something they love. Although, you could make the case that he would have liked to die doing something that he loved, hunting, but that's not the way you'd want to die. And it's just astounding to me that someone isn't smart enough to wait a while, let the deer die, make sure it's not breathing before you get up and go over to it. And when you start going over to it, you should still have a chamber in the around in the chamber.
I mean,
Yeah,
tread lightly. It's still an animal.
Part of that was he was using a muzzle loader, so he didn't have one ready to go. But what's interesting, later in the article, the hospital said it wasn't clear to determine whether he died from the deer attack or due to other medical problems like a heart attack. They said he had puncture wounds, but so they're doing an autopsy to figure out. But I mean, either way, that still sucks. Like, you go up and that deer jumps up and scares the living hell out of you, and you got the heart
I walked
attack.
up to my deer and it jumped up and started trying to gore me with its antlers. I'd probably have a damn heart attack too.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's why I often shoot them in the spine so they can't move.
Okay.
All
right.
So when you shoot a deer or an elk, don't you usually wait like a good 20-25 minutes before you're even trying to go look for it? So if it hasn't bled out by then, you don't want to spook it to where it stands up and starts running again.
Well, okay, there's a couple reasons you don't approach your game right after you shoot it. One being, you don't want to think you killed it and drop it and then go up to it and it attack you. Two, if you shoot it and it doesn't just drop dead right away, you don't want to start approaching it and then have it run off, and then next thing you know, you're chasing this animal that you shot for miles on end because it's trying to get away from you, and then you could end up losing the animal, which means you just killed something but you don't know where it's at, so it's going to waste. So I mean, yeah, there's definitely a reason that you shoot and then you wait.
Well, and especially this guy obviously knew where his deer was because he walked up to it. Why wouldn't you just wait until it just stops breathing, give it another 5 minutes, and then go up to it and approach it with a loaded weapon?
I don't know, man.
I agree with you. I'm sorry.
What are you laughing at?
You sent me this on Fox News, and apparently Fox News lets you comment on these stories. Some of the comments are pretty funny.
So read a couple of the comments.
Let me read a couple. Okay, so one, this one's not quite as funny, but it'd be a great story to tell his kids. So, Daddy, how did Grandpa die? Well, kids, he challenged a deer and lost a fight to it. There's another one that says, remember, folks, ammunition is cheap. Your life isn't. When in doubt, empty the magazine or clip into the critter. And then this one for the deer, 300,000 for the Arkansas hunters.
Oh, Jesus. You double tap, dude. Always double tap.
Anyway, that's pretty funny. Yeah, but I mean, come on, people. Use some don't they teach you these things in hunter safety? You wait a little bit, you go up and you kind of, you nudge it after you've waited a little while to see you. And then you've got your pistol or something ready to put it down if you need to when you get up to it.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, my dad has a story, but I don't think he'll want me to tell it on here. So
I want you to tell it.
I'll tell you guys after
you
we
just,
are
you
done
just
recording.
showed your hand. You should have just said it, but without giving any names.
Nah, because my dad listens. I don't think he'd appreciate me telling this story. I should have got permission before we recorded. But so over to the agricultural desk, we
This is where we need Earl and Art's expertise.
I didn't know pumpkins could get this big, but this guy named Justin Ownby out of Cleveland, Tennessee, grew 1,000-pound pumpkin and proceeded to like carve it out or whatever. And
Into a boat.
okay, no, this pumpkin weighed 1,700 pounds, and he carved it into a boat and is like paddling in the pumpkin using it as a raft. I didn't know pumpkins could get that big.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that either. That's some good magical soil or something out there.
That's some American ingenuity right there, dude. Carve a pumpkin into a boat. What a guy. What's his name? Justin?
Justin Ownby.
Well, shout out to you, Justin.
You probably don't listen, but shout out to you.
Good on you, bud. Good on you.
It is some good ingenuity. I know we probably would have just stuffed it full of tannerite and shot it.
Yeah, we definitely would have.
Yeah.
I actually kind of would have liked to see that launch, though. They do those pumpkin launching, smashing things. That would have been kind of cool to see.
You
Like,
need
how
a
big of
really
a
big-
catapult do you
What the hell are
need?
you gonna launch that with?
You need a really big fucking catapult if you're gonna huck a 1,700-pound pumpkin.
That is
Jesus.
awesome.
Makes a lot of pumpkin pie though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to do something with all those insides. But they have a lot of.
Dude,
They're gonna be
how
sick
long
of
do you think
pumpkin.
it took to like gut that pumpkin out? You know how much shit was probably in there, like all the seeds and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, how do
Oh my
you preserve
God.
that too? Like, pumpkins don't last long after you picked them.
Yeah.
You must have like some sort of coating on the outside to make it. I don't know.
Oh no,
So-
that his
Dude,
makeshift
if
boat's
he's
probably gonna
listening-
rot away.
If he's listening, you need to come on and you need to tell us this story. We have questions.
We have questions that need answered ASAP.
So Carter, my roommate Buffalo Hunter, and one of our other friends, and then we were carving pumpkins this week, and we had some good little designs in there.
Except Davis's.
Except mine. I tried to carve out Jason's deer that he got, like my best representation of his mule deer. And a piece broke off, and so I ended up having to improvise and try to make it into a moose. And it it looks really, really fucking bad.
Really, really bad. Like I
I'm
don't
just
know.
waiting for a couple more days so it can rot, so I can just like throw it on the street and not have to worry about it anymore.
Meanwhile, I carved Bigfoot into a pumpkin. It was pretty sweet.
It looks good.
I like
Yeah, I
Bigfoot.
saw that picture. That looked cool.
Buffalo Hunter made himself a nice
Communist
flag.
flag.
The hammer and sickle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why he did that, we're not really sure, but it looks pretty
it
good.
looks good.
That's pretty terrifying.
It's pretty cool when you turn the lights off and you get a light in the pumpkin, and then Hunter starts playing his
Russian anthem.
Russian national anthem. It's very peaceful. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Oh hell.
So
On to scary stories.
Yeah, on to scary stories. Do you want to lead us off with
All
your
right.
whatever happened?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the
Spooktober.
yeah. All right. This is the story of the Z monster. What is
The
a Z,
Z
you might
monster.
ask? Well, a Z is a tranny.
Oh,
So-
Jesus.
I'm in class on Tuesday, and so you gotta kind of picture the layout of this class. So it's kind of like a big rectangular room, and there's all these desks. They're like these desks that have wheels on them. And
Yeah.
there's only one door, and all the desks face away from the door. And so we're sitting there, and this girl in the class is like, "Hey, did any of you guys get an email from the professor?" And we're like, "No," and because we're a little late for class to start. She's like, "Oh, well, I did." I was like, "Well, good for you." Like, okay, whatever. She kind of, is like that I'm special, holier than thou kind of thing. Anyway, she's like, "Well, we're supposed to help the sub out today because she can't make it because she's sick." And I'm like, "Oh my God," because this teacher has wasted so much time over this last semester. I've watched more movies in this college class than I have ever in college. And they have nothing to do with what we're learning. Like they try to be about, this is a Native American class, and so they try to be about like Native American issues, but it's like nothing that we've talked about so far. Anyway, so we're sitting there. I'm sitting kind of on the left side of the room looking forward, and the door is behind me, right? And so all of a sudden this creepy ass face is like peeking through the door, like trying to figure out if this is the right class. But like a monster would look at you from like behind your closet door, basically. And I swear to God, it took everything I had on my body not to be like, "Oh my God," like audibly say like, "What the hell is that?" So this the Z monster starts walking into class.
So
It's about-
explain why you're calling it the Z monster.
Yeah, so as it's walking into the classroom, it's about 8 feet tall. Sorry, Z is about 8 feet tall. Picture Gollum from the Lord of the Rings. Picture his head, right, on Slenderman's body. If people don't know who Slenderman is, look it up.
But
then-
don't like legit look it up. Just look up pictures. Don't Slenderman will get you if you just
Yeah.
look him up for sure.
Gollum's head on Slenderman's body with big old man hands, big beefy man hands on these like little skinny arms. Massive,
Trick here.
like, yeah,
Trick here. That's how you tell it. She is actually a he,
yeah.
because even after the surgery, she will have man hands.
That is a good point.
So if
Yeah.
you're ever in doubt, just look at the hands. Onward.
yes, because they were wearing. Also, look at the feet too, because Z had these big ass high heel boots that would like go up past your knee, but they were like the size men's 15 boots. Like they were huge. And she's like trying to walk. Z is trying to walk through the classroom and is struggling because Z doesn't know how to walk in high heels. And then to top it off, Z has a just brand new pair of fake boobs hanging off of its tiny body. Tiny 8-foot body. Like, oh my God. It was so scary. And so then the voice.
So scary.
I still have nightmares.
Oh my God. The voice was still like even scarier because Z would try to like make a girl voice when it would talk, but every now and then you'd hear Z mumbling, like deep, low man's voice. You heard the true voice. And I'm sitting there as this thing walks into class and I'm looking around and I'm like, what the fuck is this thing? I couldn't get past it. That class is an hour and 15 minutes. And the whole time I'm sitting there like, oh my God, this isn't real. This isn't happening. Anyway, kids, that's the Z monster. If we got any artists out there listening, we'll have an art contest. Send in your best depiction of the Z monster.
Buffalo Hunter already tried, and
for what he had, it was okay.
It was funny. He drew it on Snapchat, so I give him props.
Oh
my God. Yeah.
So that can be your Halloween costume for anybody out there. The Z monster.
No, don't encourage that.
hey,
Whoa,
Hey,
whoa.
so let's speaking of monsters, which monster should we start off with? The Kraken?
I mean, that's not really Halloween though. I like Bigfoot.
Okay, let's start with Bigfoot.
Bigfoot,
Otherwise known
aka the Z monster.
other known as Sasquatch or Sam Squinch.
Yes.
We call him Sam Squinch a lot because one of our favorite TV shows.
Trailer Park Boys, great Netflix series.
Yep. So,
hang on, real quick before you get. I'm sorry, this is like kind of a deviation, but Trailer Park Boys, the guy that plays the guy that like owns the trailer park always has his shirt off. What's his name?
Randy?
Yeah, Randy.
He was here in Bozeman last night doing like a comedy special.
Did you go?
No, I didn't know about it.
Oh my
So
God!
I saw on somebody's story, like, but he was there as Randy, so he's like with his shirt off. He's got like his big beer gut, and it looked pretty funny. So I didn't know about it though, or else I would have gone.
I'm so disappointed in you, man.
I have no
I
words.
had no idea. From the looks of it, it was in like a tiny little bar. Like there wasn't that many people there.
God.
So I know if it had been advertised better, I would have been there. Anyway, sorry. Sam Squanch's Sasquatch.
Sam Squanch.
So, you guys believe in Bigfoot?
Hell yeah. That's why
Yeah.
I carved him into my pumpkin.
I think he's out there.
I'm paying my respects to him.
Well, I definitely believe in him.
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah,
I've
you've
seen
got a scary story about him. Huh?
Seen him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I got my cabin in the mountains, and me and one of my good old friends, we don't talk much anymore, but we were making fun of the show Finding Bigfoot, which is the best goddamn TV show ever made. With Bobo, he's my guy. If he were to say Bigfoot hides in the graves of cemeteries, I would dig up every grave I've ever found. So Bobo's my guy. So we're making fun of the show outside my cabin at just at dusk. The sun is going down. It's getting dark. We're in the woods about 300 yards from my cabin. We're making some squatch calls. We're doing some wood knocks, the whole fucking 9 yards.
Yes. What is a wood knock for our listeners out there who don't know?
Wood
Even if you don't know and you listen to this podcast, stop listening. We don't want you listening.
No, we want you. We need you listening.
You need
Zach,
you need
calm
to
down.
know how to call in a Sam Squanch.
So
Yeah, it's just
To
it should
steal
be
every
common
person's
knowledge.
chat.
basically, a Sasquatch call is basically a high pitched yell, and a wood knock is basically you take a stick or a piece of wood and knock it against a tree, and it makes a loud knocking sound.
A little something like this.
No, God, that is so bad. No, that is so bad.
Oh, that was very
It's-
racist.
I
That was
don't-
like an Indian.
Yeah, that was the worst goddamn call I've ever heard in my life.
Sorry, I don't have like an actual tree.
So, well, you don't wood knock and yell at the same time. You either wood knock, give it a few minutes, and yell. It's like you wouldn't do a cow call and an elk bugle at the same time.
You're calling for two completely different things when you're bugling and chirping.
You are when you're doing a Sasquatch call and a wood knock. You jack.
No.
You're just
Either way,
attracting two
Call it
sexes of
Sam
a.
So, anyways, we're doing this, And all of a sudden, we think we hear some wood knocks, and we're like, nah, it's probably like a tree broke or something. And we do this for about 5 more minutes, look over to our left, and about at an elevation of 8 feet above the ground, we see 2 yellow eyes. And they blink. And so we kind of look at each other, neither one of us knowing that the other person saw. We look at each other and say, hey, do you want to just like head back to the cabin? It's getting kind of dark. So we start walking back. About halfway back, we're like, did you see those eyes? And I'm like, yeah, did you? And he's like, yeah. And so we sprinted back the rest of the way. And we get back to my cabin, and my mom's like, Davis, go shut the gate. And so we go over, shut the gate. And again, we see these eyes about 8 feet above the ground. And then we see it take off across. We kind of can see the body, but it's pretty dark, and the only light is coming from the cabin. So, but we kind of see it run across the edge of the woods behind our cabin. So we're like, oh, it was probably an owl sitting on a tree branch. That's probably all it was. Just an owl sitting on a tree branch looking at us, flying across the trees. That's probably what we saw. So we go out the next day. Not only is there no fucking tree branch that it could have been sitting on, we find footprints. And I documented the footprints and took pictures. And if you want to see them, hit me up. I'll send them to you. So anyway, that's my Sasquatch story. And then another time I was with Jaeger and one of my friends, Presley Felker, and we were making Squatch calls, and then heard something I hadn't heard before. It could have been a moose, because I've never really heard a moose do anything, but it wasn't a sound I've ever heard before. So, yeah, those are my Sasquatch stories. Also, if you ever watch Finding Bigfoot, fuck Renee. Fuck me. Go Bobo. He's my guy.
Yeah, shout out Bobo.
Yep.
So,
you guys have any stories of your own?
So, that Finding Bigfoot show, where do they like travel the United States?
Yeah, they travel. They've gone like Alaska, Washington, Oregon, California. They've done some East Coast stuff, some stuff in the South. So basically, the folklore of Bigfoot isn't just the Pacific Northwest. There's creatures that could potentially have a relation to Bigfoot in the deep South, over on the East Coast. Like, this is not just a singular only in this part of the country, and they believe if it does exist, it's related to the Yeti of Asia in the Himalayas. And so they've gone over there. They went to Australia once because Australia has their version of the Bigfoot. Like, this isn't just one little thing that one person thinks they saw one time. It's like there are multiple accounts over all the United States, on almost every continent, accounts of a Bigfoot-like creature. I did a paper on this in high school because I didn't know what to write about, and I asked my teacher if I could just write about Bigfoot, and she's like, it's not even real. How are you going to write about it? I'll be like, oh, just trust me, it'll be an A. And I got 100%. Research paper, had to like informational research papers, what it was, and I thought I did a good job.
Bobo was cited a lot.
No, I cited like scholarly articles
On Bigfoot?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
From actual like zoologists and stuff. So
That's
basically, like, one of the main things people argue is, how come we never find a dead body, right? And so what my research led me to believe was either big feet, a group of Bigfoots. I don't know what you would call them, big feet. I guess, I don't. If you have 10, you have a group of 10 big feet or 10 Bigfoots? I don't know.
Big Fi?
Big Fi. So
Zach's thinking real hard about this one.
So
I was gonna say big fetuses, but that's something else.
So the experts believe they either bury themselves, not like themselves, but they bury each other in a ceremony type of thing. because they're kind of human-like for the most part, but they live in the woods, and so you also the population estimates of Bigfoot in North America is like 2,000. Meanwhile, there's 200,000 black bear in North America. And so another argument is just that you never find a dead one because, I mean, how many dead black bear are you just walking across on a trail or something?
Yeah.
Unless you're actually shooting a black bear, you're not usually going to walk across the skull. You might walk across the skull, but there's just not a high chance. And there's a lot, magnitudes more black bear than there are Bigfoots potentially. So anyways, yeah. And another theory of Bigfoots is that they're like an alien creature that can shapeshift. Jesus.
Shapeshift, boys.
Shapeshift and do other such weird things. And Indians have believed in them for a long time. So no, I don't doubt they're out there. It's just not gonna be easy to prove it.
Yeah. You'd probably have to live a full mountain man lifestyle to ever potentially see one.
Yeah.
So you're talking about shapeshifters. Does that count as like cryptozoology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
All right,
Aliens.
so I have not personally seen one, but this is just a little background on my life, and just will show you how like conservative and Republican I am. There were some YouTube videos, they might still be up, I don't know, because YouTube changes their policy all the time, freaking communists, but there are these like people out there who believe that Obama was the Antichrist and that like people around him were like demons and like shapeshifters and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, I agree, he's the Antichrist. So I watched a couple of these videos. And some people would like record as security guards, and the lighting of these like, you know, these videos just terrible. And so it looks like when the security guard kind of looks like his face like shape shifts into an alien, but it looks like it probably was just like shadows and stuff, you know. But they're like,
Yeah.
he's an alien, Obama's the Antichrist, like all this stuff. It's pretty funny, but
Sounds like an interesting group of guys.
yeah, I don't think I want to be their friends, but no. So I was gonna ask you though, what's the difference then between a Yeti and a Bigfoot?
It's basically the difference between an Asian and an African American. It's just different climates. Pigment in their skin is different.
Yeah.
Bit like distant relatives, you know.
Yeah,
The Yeti is white and lives in the snow, and the Bigfoot is brown, looks like Chewbacca, and lives in the mountains.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. They're just distant relatives.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like elephants and woolly mammoths.
Yeah. Okay.
So, other creatures, South Park made fun of finding Bigfoot one time, talking about a Chupacabra, and I don't know what
Jew
it-
as in like JEW.
yeah, that's how South Park did it. But the actual creature is a Chupacabra, CHEW.
W.
And so basically, from what I take, it's like a smaller animal, dog-like creature type thing that attacks people or something or another.
Does it eat only little boys?
Probably.
Oh, fuck, dude. We all got to get gender transitions now. Shit.
You ain't no little boy.
Yeah, we ain't little boys anymore.
You survived.
Damn. You're right. You're right.
James Younger, if you're listening, we made it. There's no monster that eats little boys.
Yeah. So, have you ever heard of Mothman?
No.
No,
Really?
but
Okay.
I have heard of a bat squatch.
That's just a type of alcohol you drunk.
Oh shit.
So, really, no one's heard of
Mothman. No.
Mothman.
No one
Okay.
has heard of Mothman. That is
No, Mothman is a real thing, and it's from like It's from it's in America, West Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And
Okay, yeah, this sounds a little bit familiar.
so
That picture looks like he's a gargoyle.
basically, I guess the Mothman shows up when bad things are gonna happen, and like this whole town is dedicated to it. I guess he shows up, and this man-like creature that is also looking like a moth that and flies around and has like red glowing eyes. He shows up and people die, or it's like there's a drought or something. It's really interesting if you go look into it, because like there's an extensive amount of people that have wrote books about him and stuff. Him, her, I don't know what Mothman.
Z.
We better call it a
Z.
moth person because we're woke in 2019. So yeah, I just think that'd be like a cool thing to dress up for as Halloween. Just like
Yeah.
What are you supposed to be?
Especially
I
in West
am
Virginia,
Mothman.
it scares the hell out of people.
basically like a demon and evil Satan servant type of thing.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe if we use the Ouija board, we can call him in here.
Yeah.
Nah.
Hey, Zach, you
Yeah,
want to
fun
come
with
play
that.
with the Ouija board?
No thanks.
We'll say goodbye.
Yeah. So other cryptozoology animals are basically like the Loch Ness monster, krakens, sea monsters,
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Does
Superman.
Megalodon count?
Yeah, I think the megalodon is part of it.
I thought megalodons were a legit thing, though.
And like ancient, like
But they don't.
prehistoric records, they are. Whether they exist right now is debatable.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's always my
So-
favorite episode of Shark Week is the Megalodon.
Dude,
There's
I hope
always one.
megalodons don't exist anymore. Them shits would fuck you up.
Yeah. I'd imagine so.
Did you see the movie The Meg?
No.
I
Was
I
it any
wanted
good?
to. I
I mean I watched it on a plane ride, but I didn't get to like listen to it because I didn't have earphones. But I watched it and read the subtitles. But I'm a slow reader, so I only got like half the gist of what was going on.
yeah.
So yeah, you got any other monsters like Frankenstein or you want to
No.
talk about?
I don't have much knowledge on monsters.
Dracula.
Dracula?
Some vampires. My theory is that Jacek Butch is a vampire.
Why?
His hands are always fucking freezing cold.
Yeah.
But he goes out in the sunlight.
Maybe he's a different breed.
He's just a zombie, maybe.
He's a zombie vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What about zombies? I don't
I
know
went and saw
any-
Zombieland 2 the other day. That was a funny movie.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Better than the first one or as good?
I still think the first one's better because whenever they make sequels of any movie, the second one's not usually as good. But this one was as good as the first one is.
That's good.
I'm telling you though, if the zombie apocalypse comes,
We're going to the cabin, regardless if I own it or not.
we'll be okay.
We'll find our way to it.
We'll be fine. We got enough guns and ammo,
Yeah. Have you seen
and we
those
got
like?
Bear Lodge.
Well,
Yeah.
what if the government takes our guns, huh? What are you gonna do then, Carter? Beto's gonna take all our guns.
Fuck
Don't you worry.
Beto.
Tell him, hey, I dropped him in the lake or something.
Beto's a goddamn
Yeah.
idiot. We shouldn't even be talking about the guy. We're talking about zombies right now.
Okay.
Fuck Beto.
He is a zombie. He's coming for our guns.
Communist bastard.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know much about monsters other than what we talk about with like Bigfoot and stuff. But
Other than the one hiding underneath your bed?
yeah, actually, I heard something about like a shadow man, or like a shadow person. I don't know if that falls more under like a ghost or if that's what that
like
is, but
Slenderman kind of.
I guess, but yeah, like just a person, but it's just a shadow. Like they have no like distinguishable
Oh,
traits
you've
other
seen
than if
him
they're a person.
before.
Yes, I
You've
have.
seen him before.
Uh-huh.
What?
Zach's seen Shadow Man.
If what I saw was a shadow person, then this is
Well,
it. But
do
I don't know if
explain.
it's a ghost.
I haven't heard this story. Do explain.
All right. So this was our junior year of high school, and it was prom night, or not prom night. It was homecoming night, and so Carter and I went to prom. We took a couple girls to prom, and so we
Homecoming.
left. Homecoming shit. Homecoming. Anyway, we left, and we
Wait,
it was
Carter
late,
took a girl. I thought he took a guy.
yeah.
Wow.
Took a Z.
Ah,
God damn it. God damn it.
But anyway, so Carter could attest. We left there really late. Like it was like past midnight. I get back to my house after dropping my date off, and so my parents are asleep. Everybody's asleep in my house. So I go down to my bedroom, which is in the basement, and I get in bed, and I'm trying to go to sleep. But go ahead.
Your house is haunted, right?
I don't know because I haven't seen this thing since.
Oh.
So I go down into my bedroom. I'm trying to go to bed, and so the way my bedroom is, my bed like faces the door. So when I'm laying on my back, I can look up and see the doorway. And then right outside my doorway is a long hallway that would go that'd be parallel with my bedroom. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I hear like what I think sounds like footsteps kind of like walking up and down my hallway on the carpet. And so I keep looking up and I don't see anything there. And after like the 10th time, I look up and there's like a shadow person standing in my doorway. But this whole time, I'm not thinking like it's a ghost or anything. I'm thinking, well, maybe my parents are coming down to check on me, make sure I got home. So I look up and I'm sitting there, and then it like starts moving towards me. And I'm kind of freaking out a little bit because I'm not exactly sure whether this is my mom or my dad, or if there's just an intruder. Still not thinking it's a ghost, but I'm thinking there's a person there. And so I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, if there's somebody in my house, like it's going down, like I got to get ready to fight. And so it keeps moving. It gets closer and closer, and it's like right next to me. And I can
You're watching it the whole time.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm not asleep. I'm awake.
Hell, I would have put my head under the covers, like that would have protected me or something.
No, dude. I was like, because I wasn't thinking it was a ghost. I was like, there's somebody in my house. I'm gonna have to fight. Like they're gonna kill me. And so because then there's like a hand moving towards my face. And so at that point I like swung at it and then tried to reach for my light next to my bed. When I turned the lamp on, there wasn't anything there. Yeah, I was like, what? It freaked me out. Yeah, so at that point, I'm thinking, okay, that was a ghost.
At that point, I reached under my pillow, grabbed my Glock, and just let the whole magazine fly.
Yeah, so like that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, I need to there's a knife by my bed. I could grab the knife. I'm going down fighting, and then there's nothing there. That's a true story. I'm not making any of that up. That happened. So, but I haven't seen it since.
Is this thing like a Slenderman?
I don't know, maybe, but it wasn't like overly big. It looked like just a regular person. I just couldn't tell there. There wasn't like a face. It wasn't like you would think an apparition, like a ghost.
You guys ever watch that Slender Man movie that came out, I don't know, a year or two ago?
No, I didn't watch it, but I knew they made one.
It was so bad. I can't remember. I can't remember who I went with, but basically at the end of the movie, the Slender Man takes this girl and then she turns into a tree or something. And we're walking out of the movie, and I think it might have been Jaeger. But one of my friends goes, I just wasted 2 hours of my life to watch that bitch turn into a fucking tree. Jesus, that movie sucked. But
Hey, wait. Going back to what Zach was saying though, have you ever just been like laying in bed watching a movie or something at night, and then like you turn your TV off to go to sleep and you just feel like something is watching you?
Oh, all the time.
Like you just feel like something is there?
I just put my head under the covers because if I can't see it, it can't see me.
No, dude, I just turned my TV back on. I'm like, I'm gonna put the TV back on.
Yeah.
It's the aliens, man.
The White Owl.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my experience with the paranormal or whatever.
Yeah. So, closing thoughts, yeah?
Yeah. Forcing your kid to transition to a gender they're not born with is child abuse, and you shouldn't do that. You're gonna screw up your kid big time, or drive him to kill himself.
What's her name?
I don't know his mom's name, but the boy's name is James, and his dad is Jeff.
Yeah. Well, whatever the mom's name is, the real monster on this episode is her.
Yeah.
If any of our listeners know who this mom is, play this thing I'm about to say. You are a terrible parent, and your child will grow up to hate you, and when you die, all of history will forget about you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a contest for any of our listeners out there. We got Halloween coming up. Send in your best Halloween costumes. I don't know. We don't have anything.
What are you gonna be for Halloween?
Hey, Zach, are you gonna get this episode out tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll try to.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow or actually
after we stopped recording.
I'll do it. It'll be out tomorrow.
I had a thought, but then it's a stupid thought.
Just say it.
Never mind.
Just say
Onward.
Zach, what's your Halloween costume?
Keith Richards.
Oh hell yeah. I'm gonna be Carl from Caddyshack.
I'm gonna be Rodney Dangerfield's character off of Caddyshack. It's like Al Cervic or something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I spent quite a bit of money, but I can use most of the clothes again. So
he got a pretty cool sweater, let me tell you.
Yeah, if it gets here on time.
They better get here on time.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's a question. Are you guys doing Halloween parties this week or next week?
Tomorrow night at the cabin, baby.
Hey, yeah, all you listeners out there, party at the cabin tomorrow night.
If you tomorrow is in Friday, October 25th.
Yeah.
If you're listening, Friday during the day, party will start at 9. Show up whenever. Bring your own beer. Be wearing a costume or you're not getting in the front door.
I will kick your ass off this porch. The porch is like 10, 15 feet off the ground too, so I'll just throw you over.
Yep.
Goddamn bastards.
Zach, feel free to road trip down if you want.
Yeah.
I got a couch you can sleep on. It's really fucking comfortable.
I got a futon. Oh, and also there's parties next week too, so
yeah.
It's just gonna be it's gonna dude, get this, Zach.
Yes.
Saturday night, October 26th.
Okay.
Wet t-shirt contest at the Buck. Yeah.
I might sign up. And if I sign up, I'm gonna win because I'll pour 2 pitchers of beer on me while Def Leppard plays in the background, pour some sugar on me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be wearing Daisy Dukes. Oh, I'll win that sucker, I swear to God.
Everyone in the bar will be really uncomfortable, but Davis will win.
We better stop this episode right now.
that I'll let that image be the most scary thing said on this episode. Like, subscribe, send in all your Halloween costumes. We'll do a photo contest. I guess we'll give you a free shirt.
Yeah, free shirt to whoever has the best Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Free
Sounds
shirt
good.
and sticker.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Hell
Thanks
yeah.
for listening, guys. See you next time on the Rendezvous.
Hell yeah.